Good evening mga kalaro and welcome to the Council of Titos, the show on the Laro-Laro lang channel where Sportitos talk about a different kind of game, the reality TV game show and social experiment that has run for over 2 decades, Survivor. I'm Chief Bizdak Joel Parcon, and with me as always is Vice Chief Bizdak Jao Atienza. What's up, Jao? How are you doing?
I observe.
I observe. That was part of a very good tribal for this past episode. Although before we begin, I would just like to say that I made the mistake of saying that the title of episode 10 was Battle Royale. I realized that while I was watching this episode, and I was like, oh, I think I made a mistake with the title when Lindsay said the actual words Battle Royale. So yeah, the episode title for the Battle Royale is the episode title for episode 11. That was this past week.
This one, yeah.
And yes, it was such a battle royale. It featured two of I would like to say the immunity, the challenge threats that we have right now in the tribe, right? Yeah, right. So anyway, the Council of Titos, we are gonna give our highlights and lowlights for the episode, as well as our thoughts and predictions for the upcoming episodes. And let's get right into it. Jao, can you what's your top highlight for this week's episode?
Me calling that Hai was going to be the one that explains the odds, or because like last season they cut the Xander. Yeah. You always switch.
Yeah, you called that. You called. I mean, him being the data scientist, he was bound to be the one to do that. But yeah, that was a good call.
Well, I don't know. Was it like my highest high really was the exit of Drea. I mean, it was such a it was such like a feel good moment, but at the same time, she did the Survivor equivalent of like farting in an elevator and walking out. You know?
Expound for our viewers, yeah.
Right? Like, what did she do? She pretty much ruined everybody's game. You know?
So who did she throw under the bus? Of course, the most obvious is Mike, right?
Mike, right? So like saying, if you make it to the final 3, you're probably going to win.
Mm-hmm.
She says she's rooting for Lindsay.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, and you know why? Which, she has an idol. People could pick up on that. So that's in a way throwing Lindsay under the bus.
Mm-hmm.
Showing Jonathan's lack of social awareness by saying, you were always gunning for me, but I was never gunning for you. What she said to Omer when she says like, you were the only person that I told about the knowledge is power. Then for Romeo and Marianne, it was
I think
just
Marianne's was like the least corrosive, right?
Yeah,
least toxic. Continue to be you.
Yeah, just continue to be you, whatever that meant. But like, she was throwing a wrench in the majority because, as was established in the course of the episode, the minority right now is Marianne and Romeo.
Yeah.
So Marianne and Romeo didn't get too much of let's call it, didn't get the
too much shade
poison,
or flack. Yeah. So do you think that means that Drea doesn't really quite see either Marianne or Romeo as threats or as potential like winners in the end?
I would say that Marianne, no, sorry, I would say that Drea just wants to would have just wanted to sort of level the playing field and sort of make things a little bit more interesting. Right? Because it was going to be a fairly routine vote out the next couple of episodes, with Lindsay, Jonathan, Omer, and Mike being the majority alliance, and Romeo and Marianne kind of being on the outs. or at least that's what the perception is. We of course know that Marianne is a little bit stronger than she's letting on because she has the idol and an extra vote as it. I just like
Oh yeah, yeah. We forgot
I
about it. We
just
totally
remember-
forgot about that.
we
We totally
forgot
forgot
that she
about it.
has an extra vote.
Yeah.
So Marianne has an idol and an extra vote. She's a lot stronger than she's sort of letting on, but at least with regard to the perception in the game at the time, um I guess Drea just wanted to break the majority alliance in a way, or throw a wrench in the majority
Mm.
alliance. It's sort of like did we characterize her as like chaotic evil, or was that just straight up Tori?
Yeah, I think that was just straight up Tori. I was actually praising her as a big challenge, potential challenge beast. That never showed up.
Mm.
But yeah, but I don't think that we characterize her as a chaotic evil castaway. Um, yeah, but it was interesting that she was actually very uh, calculating. If you right, even with
Yeah,
the past tribals, she's always come out as calculating.
yeah,
That what exactly what you just said in her line. Yeah, she's
right.
observing. She
And it
observes
was
and she makes decisions based out of their observations.
apparently all like planned. Each of her lines, at least according to her exit press, which
Hmm.
maybe not. I don't know how much weight to give the exit press, right? But in her exit press, she was asked if that was like a spur of the moment sort of thing,
Mhm.
or if she had like plans, or was it like was it intentional for her to say those words to Mike, for example? And she was like, yeah,
Ooh.
those were intentional. So as to whether or not that means she doesn't want Mike to win, or she just wants to make the game more interesting, I'm thinking that it's sort of the latter. uh,
Just
and
wants to see the world burn.
yeah, but if Mike makes it to the final three, she has to push hard for him,
Yeah. Yeah.
because
True.
like last thing she wants to be is like wrong.
Yeah, yeah. Based on I did watch like a couple of YouTube videos, and it's now up to her to lobby for Mike or maybe even Lindsay if she really does, if she really is rooting for Lindsay, and that wasn't just to let everyone know that she has an immunity idol. That was up till then nobody knew about it, right? It was really just the three of them. It was Hai, Drea, and Lindsay who knew about their advantage amulet, right? No, they didn't share that with anyone, I think.
Or if ever the people that knew about it have been voted off already. Like I, for whatever reason, I think Hai knew. I mean, no, because Hai was one of them. Sorry.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Maybe if ever it would have been Lydia because of
of Hai.
the bond with Hai, maybe,
Yeah, like
right? And
whoever.
then Lydia was the one who called out the blood, right? You're
Yeah,
bleeding from
yeah.
the first episode, right? But yeah, it would have ended up that there would have been two immunity idols that no one knew about, right?
Yeah.
Marianne's and Lindsay. But now it's just Marianne, and she actually has a lot of power. Do we who did Marianne go to the island with?
Did Marianne go to the island? I
Because
don't know.
that would be the person who would know about the extra vote, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, was it Jenny? I think it was Jenny. Maybe it was, right? And then Jenny's not nowhere.
Yeah.
So no one knows about any of the advantages that Marianne has left. So she's actually in a very, very powerful position,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. She's like, she's in the Drea position now.
Yeah, yeah. She just leaped over to like the prime position to upend everything, right? So yeah, that's good on her. Good on her. Yeah. Well, for me, my
Right?
my
Oh,
highest
your highest.
high.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, for my highest high, I actually like the immunity challenge. Uh, Not because
Oh,
of the
yeah.
challenge, but because it highlighted both Jonathan and Lindsay as the challenge threats. Right. If you think about it, that challenge probably was against something that Jonathan might not have excelled in, excelled at,
Mm.
because again, it's all about he has big feet, and then that ledge was so small, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know how he was able to outlast Lindsay, who was almost half his height, right? Half as big as he is. uh yeah, he just basically beat the odds. He beat the odds and outlasted the challenge. And again, I've seen this because I've seen Survivor Australia. The challenges that are designed for people to outlast, it's usually the smaller, the more the competitors who have good core. Although I do think that Jonathan probably has
Yeah.
also has good core, but yeah, it's usually designed for the smaller contestants. But this time, it's like the biggest guy out there who won out, right? And I just like how it uh, it built up Lindsay as a competitor, right?
Right.
It her stock continues to rise,
Yeah.
and she's again she might be the decoy. She might be the decoy in the end, but it's a good thing. I mean, from us calling her the purple of the episode after episode, week after week, to suddenly being like out there and being like a challenge beast or challenge threat, right? Such a
Yeah.
big turnaround.
She's in the Erica position in a way.
Yeah,
Like, at least in terms of what the show is like showing us, like fairly invisible towards the beginning, and then all of a sudden making like a late game run. Um, but about that challenge, something that I found so funny about it was using like the visual language to show the passage of time by like fading out and then fading in, and like having those really wide shots, like those drone shots or whatever. And when you look at like how much time has elapsed, it was like 12 minutes.
yeah. I think it ended at 12 minutes, right?
Yeah,
It was.
yeah.
I mean, way to like play with our minds, Survivor.
I found that so funny, particularly since uh one of the most notable of those challenges, one of the most notable instances of a challenge that looked like that lasted like 5 hours or something,
Mm-hmm.
with what's his name, um David versus Goliath guys.
That would be Christian, I think.
Yeah, Christian
The
Ricky.
really smart dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
apparently that was like a 5 hour long thing, and like this was like 12 minutes.
12 minutes.
So so we've been conditioned to see this what crucifixion challenge, to we've been conditioned for it to last something like 5 hours, um and showing the passage of time only for us to realize that it's been like 6 minutes. It's just hilarious.
Yeah, that was really hilarious. I mean, the way that Christian did, I'm assuming that you watched a video with him on it, and he said
Yeah.
that his thing lasted like 5 hours. It was his way of getting over the challenge was just to talk, and then that's how he outlasted everyone else. Yeah, it's really, it was really funny. It was really funny when Jeff said that after 12 minutes, I was like, what? That was just 12 minutes?
I don't know.
And then Jeff kept on commenting, ooh, Jonathan with a little bit of movement, adjusting his feet. You're like, okay, so how long has it been? Yeah, that was funny. That was funny and that was weird.
So if any of my media literacy students are watching, look at what they did to show the passage of time. How long did it feel versus how long did it say it was?
Ooh. Mm.
Right? Because those are things that can be used to manipulate, you know.
Yeah, yeah, that's film language for you, right? Right. Any other highs that you've got?
Uh, damn, Mike being strategic,
Oh.
But Omar's still sort of outplaying him in a way, but being more strategic, you know. But like, what's it? Mike, um, Mike giving Omer the idol, like that
Mm.
was so cool. You know, the way that they broke the knowledge is power again. Like, you know, that's pretty much a solved um advantage, right?
Yeah.
Knowledge is power is just a solved advantage.
Yeah. So
But
when
like
you
that
have the
was
knowledge is power advantage, never tell anyone.
yeah, like don't tell especially
Right?
especially somebody like Omer.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially that, like Omar, who like he's one of the craftiest players right now on the tribe. But
Yeah.
yeah, that switch. So the trick worked again. Uh,
Mhm.
I have a question for you though, and I don't know if any of the videos that you've seen have has answered this, but because I've seen it happen in Survivor Australia, where castaways actually leave their advantages in camp.
Mhm.
Some of them do.
Yeah.
Uh, what if Mike had left his immunity idol at camp? Would that have also counted as him not having an immunity idol or an advantage?
I think so.
Right? It has to be in his
Yeah.
possession, right?
Yeah, because like in the case of these idols, they attach to the object and not the person.
Hmm.
So I would assume that like if you don't have an idol on you to play the idol, then you don't have an idol. Like
Yeah.
in the same way that was it like Drea? Apparently Drea like dropped her shot in the dark on the way to tribal at one point and totally forgot all about it. Like she dropped the little die, completely forgot all about it, and was like, "Oh yeah, I could have played that, but I didn't because like I didn't have the thing." So you know,
Oh my gosh. I was actually wondering why she didn't play her shot in the dark. I was wondering why she didn't. No, so that's why. I was wondering
well, and
because
that
it
was
was stacked against her. It was already so stacked against her. And I don't think that I think that she would have known that she didn't have votes.
hmm,
She didn't have the votes. So I think that would have been the prime time to like use your shot in the dark. But she dropped it sometime before and doesn't, she forgot about it. Oh gosh.
yeah. So I think it was Drea. I think it was Drea. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, like feel free to tell me in the comments. Uh, you know, mga kalaro, tell me in the comments. But yeah, as far as I can remember, that's something that happened, and because the idol attached, because immunity is attached to the object and not the person, um, it uh leaving it leaving it back at camp would probably mean that the answer to that question would be no.
Right? Yeah. So yeah,
You know?
technically Mike could have told Omar, it's okay, I'll hold on to my idol. And then
Yeah.
could have just left it at the camp so that he would still have the idol. It wouldn't be in Omar's possession because right now it's Omar who has the immunity idol,
Yeah.
right?
And that was a cliffhanger without them without them telling us that it was a cliffhanger.
Mm,
Is Omer gonna give the idol back? Because
mm,
like whether or not he does has huge implications moving forward.
yeah,
Because he really doesn't have to give it back, but
yeah, yeah.
you
And
know
it will it I mean it's going to tell us basically what Omar's strategy is moving forward, right? Who knows? It may be what Drea said about Mike being a favorite heading into final tribal might encourage or motivate Omar to not give the idol back and vote Mike out the next episode, right? To
yeah.
the next tribal. Yeah. Oh, I
So
have another question for you. Which trick do you like better season 41, season 42,
What do
or
you mean?
at least how it was presented?
This one.
This one, you like this one better?
Yeah, yeah. The Mike being like, no. Like
Playing it up, right? Playing up to the camera.
like a man of few words, but all of the emotion is there. Unlike I don't know,
It was
Xander's
Xander,
acting
right? It was
didn't
Xander.
yeah,
He just
Xander's
straight up
acting didn't
looked at
seem like,
Liana.
no, but you can have this fake one. Like, okay. I prefer Mike's. Like, you didn't have to, um we found it kind of cool
Hmm.
that in the previous season they made a fake one. But that was because it came into play a lot earlier, I guess, and there were more people around camp,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm.
So
So
like
a lot
they
of people would
really,
have seen it more. Yeah.
yeah, like with this one, or with this season, there's a lot more space for Mike just to give Omer the idol without people like seeing. But
Yeah.
in the previous season, since there were more eyes around camp, they probably needed to make a show of it.
Mm. Yeah. There was a lot more theatrics in season 41.
Yeah.
But the better performance was here by Mike.
I would think that the better performance was here by Mike.
Yeah.
Better acting all around.
Again, is it all scripted? Is Survivor scripted? Find out, right? Because we have seen. I mean, I've heard of it. I've heard of these like reality shows that are actually
Yeah.
scripted, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm still holding out on hope that this isn't, that Survivor isn't. It's like it's like my favorite reality show. So anyway,
What
yeah.
about you? What are your other highs?
My other high was that I liked that Lindsay came out safe. I like
Yes.
from the she beat she technically beat the Monty Hall problem, right?
Yeah.
I like it because Lindsay is coming is being shown, as being highlighted as a competitor, and I like it when it's the competitors who make it to the end. It's not like people who are goats and then they're brought to the
Right.
end by some of the bigger competitors. I like it when like the hard competitors are the ones who really fight it out for the final for the sole survivor title. And she's being billed as that. She's being built up as that. So I like that she
Yeah.
beat the Monty Hall problem. Uh, so let me just get this straight. So in if you're provided if you're given the Monty Hall problem,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and then so you've got a 1 in 3 chance of getting it right. You
Yeah.
picked one, and then the host shows another box that shows that
Yeah.
it would have gotten you out. It would have been the wrong decision.
Mm-hmm.
You have to switch in order to increase your chances to 2/3. Is that it?
Yes. Think of it like this, no. All right. So I was actually going to suggest that we have an audio version of this. I was going to be like, hey Joe, maybe we should have an audio version of this, but not that's not happening today because I'm going to use my fingers. So we have three choices, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, and if you pick this one, that's
Mm-hmm.
a 1 in 3 that you get it right.
Yeah.
If you pick the two of these, that is a 2 in 3 that you that is a 2/3 that you get it,
Uh-huh.
right? So you pick this, that's 1/3.
1/3. Yeah.
You reveal one. That
Uh-huh.
would have been the equivalent of picking both.
Mm, okay. Okay.
So
All
it's
right.
still that 2/3.
So the
That's how you
two
get the
thirds would have
2/3.
still been there. But yeah, okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay, I got it. But then again, yeah. Then again, still going with her original one, she still had a 1 in 3 chance, and it's just she's just really that lucky that she got the one in
Yeah.
three chance,
She got the one
right?
in three. I mean, two-thirds is good, but 1 in 3 is not impossible. You
Yeah,
know,
exactly. Right.
like we talk about it as though the 1 in 3 means you're screwed, but like no, that's a 1 in 3.
Yeah, it's still a
You
one and
know,
three. Right? I see. Okay, I get it. I get it. Okay, I get it now. Finally, I get it now. All right. So yeah, I like the fact that she beat the Monty Hall problem. I like the fact that Lindsay is still in the game despite us again calling her the purple week after week. She's showing up. She's getting highlighted, and she's coming out as a favorite to make it, at the very least, make it until the final tribal.
yeah. So just the question though, do you think she made the right call by, or so you're saying she made the right call to enter the
Compete.
challenge? Yeah, to compete in the challenge.
Um, I think it helped her resume in a sense,
Yeah.
because if they had all just bowed out of it and
Right.
just given Jonathan straight up immunity, she wouldn't have gained anything out of it. But now that she took the risk, good thing that she won the do or die, because
Yeah.
now she's got that as part of her resume. She didn't back down. She didn't back down
Yeah.
because she's a competitor, and then she really go big or go home, right? That's I guess that's something that she's doing right now. uh yeah, for me, I think that she made the right call,
I was
not bowing out.
I was begging Drea to be the one to do that actually, but
Yeah,
like, yeah, but it turns out it was Lindsay. Like, wow, you go,
yeah,
girl.
yeah.
Like in my notes, my high for Lindsay is just Lindsay with like 5 exclamation points.
Right,
Like,
right. She's getting really, like, she's getting built up as a competitor, as someone who won't back down, as a challenge threat. How big of a target it's going to paint on her back, we don't really quite know, but there is a target now on her back. Aside from the fact that Drea threw her under the bus, also the fact that people are more or less seeing that, yeah, she is a threat. She is a threat, not just, yeah. She's someone who needs to be checked, right?
yeah, somebody that needs to be dealt with in a way.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
Yes, and she beat the getting her backstory late in the season curse.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was like, it was in my notes. Like, oh gosh, we have now seen Lindsay's backstory. Is this her final episode? It's part of my notes. It was like, oh gosh, okay, that's it. That's it. This is her last episode. And then she beats. I guess that's also part of what the producers did, right?
Yeah,
They build her
beating
up,
the odds.
right? Yeah, they build her up, and then they know that the audience looks out for these things, these signs. Like, if your backstory shows up, it's almost your time. So right, so and then she inexplicably competes in the challenge when she could have been safe. So yeah, a lot of again, it's either she is going to win it all or she is the decoy. Right?
Right. So Omer was the decoy. I
Omar was
always
the
thought,
DK all along.
yeah, I always thought that Omer was going to be the decoy. So like, I suppose Lindsay's menu winner pick now.
Yeah, I mean, with High and Chanel out, so yeah, it's yeah, Lindsay. I'm turning around. I mean, I'm getting around to rooting for Lindsay right now. My winner picks are either Jonathan or Mike. Jonathan, more to subvert all of the all of the expectations about the provider never winning it all, right? We've
Mm.
seen it with Aussie. We've seen it with all of the so the providers in previous seasons. Now this guy, Jonathan, he's the provider. He's the strong man. I hope that he wins it.
This game is falling apart though, but that's
Yeah,
sort of that's preempting my lose.
Yeah, yeah.
So like,
So yeah, we'll discuss it in more detail later. Anything else on your list?
um, no, I mean, you know, the episode. Actually, I would put the whole episode itself as like a high. This is probably the best episode of the season so far.
Yeah.
And even though like I have a bunch of lows, it's all of these lows that make this episode so great.
Ooh,
Like
wow.
that's something that that's something that I noticed about how we quote unquote review these episodes. Like our lows aren't really like the show's bad lows. Like our lows are, oh man, that
It's
player
like
messed
our
up.
emotions, like our
Yeah.
emotions. Yeah, it's a low point in our emotions, but that's what makes the episode so good, right?
Yeah, right. And then, you know, I guess part of what made this episode so good was like we had a lot of those lows that were like, and then the tribal and the payoff there was just really good.
Yeah.
So like probably my favorite episode of the season so far.
Ooh, nice,
Since we are
nice.
since we're talking since technically we're reviewing the show.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is what we call our episodes. They are reviews. They're not breakdowns. Uh, so yeah. So I guess that's it. So let's go ahead and listen to what our friend Martin has in his mind with Martin's thoughts.
Martin.
Martin's thoughts with Martin. Martin. Yeah.
As for my high, well, I don't know if this is a high, but I like the way that Drea left the tribal council. Like, there's a lot of hugs to be given around. That's like kind of new to me. You know, very sportsmanlike, very happy. I don't know if you guys checked out other podcasts aside from RHAP, like Tyson's podcast. I think they have something opposite to think about that, especially Tyson, because his guest that time was Coates, his former tribe mate from Survivor Tocantins. That's one of my highs. My second high would be, holy smokes, that challenge. It was like mano y mano. It was Jonathan and Lydia. Wait, did I get her name right? Yeah. Oh, wait, no, that's not Lydia. The other lady. The other lady who has the other advantage. So now she has a hidden immunity idol power. So good. That's a high for me, man. And that's it for the highs.
Martin's thoughts with Martin. Martin. Yeah.
Wow, Martin forgetting the name of Lindsay.
That's my winner pick, dude. That's my winner pick.
No, I think it only shows how much he was a fan of Lydia, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The true purple of this season.
Yes. She showed up in the first episode, and after that, what? Lydia? Lydia who? Right?
Right? Because she was screwed by the hourglass episode, so like they had to kind of purple her in a way. So sad.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, Martin, he has the same thoughts as actually also as you and also me. It was sad to see Drea go, but that was such a great moment in the end, right?
Yeah.
And I think that Probst really got it right. He said that gameplay and camaraderie both at the same time, right? A lot of
Yeah.
gameplay, a lot of scheming and strategy, but there's also a lot of friendship and bonds that we're seeing with this cast.
Yeah, with this cast in particular, like during some of the exit press of High, like he just straight up said, "We don't hate each other. We actually quite like each other." Like,
Nice.
whoa, that's something that apparently doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. It would really be something weird or new, especially for an old blood like Tyson. Martin mentioned Tyson. He's an old blood. He's a competitor through and through. I think Tyson's played 3 times, including Winners at War. But yeah, they're like fierce competitors to the extent that they dislike their fellow contestants. But here, it's really, I think it's also it's a new age of competition. We're like, yeah, it's a game. We all know it's a game. Uh, no hard feelings about everything, right? Yeah, even in 41, the hardest feeling there was Liana not really liking Xander, although I still have other opinions about that. I still
We
think
still
that they
ship them.
secretly had a crush on each other. Right?
Well, apparently, the beef coming out of 41 was Shannon Ricard.
Mm. Mm.
Like they weren't, they
Post
weren't.
game, they weren't.
Yeah, they weren't as close as they were in game. So, like,
Mm. Well,
hmm,
we haven't so far. We haven't seen it. Well, the closest right now, it's gonna go into our lows. So I guess we should go into our lows now. Yeah, let's go into our lows. Let's start with you. What's one of your lows?
Mr. Jeff spoiling last season. Because that's something that I've been noticing whenever he talks about like the previous, whenever he talks about like the advantage or whatever, he's like, and last season, uh, Deshaun. I'm like, oh, okay. So if this was like the first time somebody was watching Survivor, then you just spoiled Deshaun.
He's banking on the fact that whoever is watching Survivor has been following it since birth
Yeah.
or something. I don't know.
But really, like my first low is shot in the dark. Shot in the dark. Like
Mhm.
it's not as bad as the hourglass, but like the reason I think it's worked is because the person was safe both times, right? But like imagine how much of a downer this episode would have been, and
Do
how
or die,
like
you mean? Do or
annoying.
die.
Yeah, yeah, it's not shot in the dark. Do or die. Sorry. The do or die. Um, Imagine if this episode had just ended with the unceremonious boot of Lindsay. Like this would be we'd have a very different like tone for this episode of the Council of Titos. We would have been like trying to bury this episode into like the annals of like single worst Survivor episode in 20 years, you know? Like the reason the reason it's good is because they were safe both times.
Mhm.
But I'm just imagining what the alternative would have been. Right, the
Mhm.
alternative would have been just something. It would
Yeah,
have been us just like cursing this episode. You know,
yeah. And I think well, this goes back into it being a high, right? I think the fact that that we know that Deshaun was safe in last season, it added to the anxiety of us waiting, wondering if Lindsay is gonna end up safe for this episode, right? For this do or die, and I think that contributed to it being a high point. But yeah, the fact that they've come out safe, it's do or die might not be a good dramatic tool for the unless like they in succeeding seasons they are finally gonna have someone get unceremoniously booted out because of do or die, right?
I think getting the boot like is a little too harsh. You know,
What would
for
you suggest? How what would happen to them?
I don't know, they lose their vote or something. I don't know.
Ooh. Or they go into exile instead of getting voted out. Nobody gets voted out. They go
Yeah.
to exile, and then they come back next tribal. They don't have a shot at immunity. Oh gosh. Stacking it up against the one who fails at do or
Yeah.
die.
Yeah, just gets a shot at immunity, but has to go to exile for like 2 days or whatever it is, and doesn't get to be part of the strategizing,
Mm, mm,
right? Because like Survivor, what I'm noticing is that Survivor really more than all of the advantage plays and stuff is really about like camp life and the conversations that go on like when they're there. This was sort of brought into sharp relief for me by Omar, right? Like his
Yeah.
plans are the ones that sort of drive tribal.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so
Just that one episode when he didn't have a vote and he still came out on top because it was his plan that got played, right?
yeah, like was it like his in Survivor, the plan doesn't have to be the best; it just has to be the last.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, yeah. So yeah, maybe that's the way to tweak do or die. Would have been yeah, getting just booted out just like that might not be the best
Yeah,
thing for TV, right?
or like
There, did you know that there have been some conspiracy theorists that say that Jeff actually has control over whether or not it's safe or not?
that crossed my mind. I am a magician, you see.
he, I mean, some people went to the extent of freezing frames, and they say that whenever it's safe, Jeff holds the box a certain way, and whenever it's not safe, he holds it a different way.
Yeah, I mean, like I can. I'm not gonna lie, that crossed my mind, right? Because like, because you know this, I am a magician, right? I
Yeah.
I do tricks here and there, and I can imagine a box with a mechanism that, like, if opened in one way shows safe, and if opened in another, does it. But that would be like messing around with the integrity of the game a little too much.
Yeah.
Um, but something but something that Danny McRae pointed out, was it Danny McRae? Or somebody pointed out
Mm.
um that Jeff might be doing like a mentalist sort of thing,
Ooh.
where like, yeah, and there's another podcaster that thinks that he isn't doing it on purpose, but like um when he says like one of them is one of them is has fire and two of them are safe. Like, he's like, one of them has fire and two of them are safe, so subconsciously planting the impression in the survivor that the one that he's pointing to when he says like, this one
Oh.
is the dangerous one, this one is the safe one, like, you know that sort of subtle, like, mentalist sort of manipulation seems to be going on. Or it could be like Jeff is subconsciously doing it, and it is subconsciously being picked up by Deshaun and Lindsay, but I
And
don't
Liz-
know. I don't know.
who knows? Who knows? Yeah. Ooh. That could also be something, right? Again, goes back to my it's slowly becoming a conspiracy theory on my end that it's all scripted. Uh, to make good TV. They want to give a good product, and it being too unpredictable is not good for them and telling a good story, right? Anyway, so yeah.
So what about you? What are your
Oh,
what's your first look?
my first low is actually a petty low. It's the Shakespeare.
I
It's a
knew it.
Shakespeare
I
appreciator in
knew
me.
it. I knew it.
Yeah, we have yet another
Wherefore?
misunderstanding of wherefore art thou, right? For yeah, just to explain, the wherefore in Shakespeare language isn't where, it's actually why.
Why?
So yeah, Mike using wherefore to ask where Romeo is isn't really correct, right? So it's really petty, but yeah, I love Shakespeare, and yeah, it's a petty low. Doesn't, like what you said, it doesn't really take away from the beauty of this episode, but that's just me. I'm petty about those things.
earlier earlier while I was preparing for the show, I already had the whole, like, so Joel, as an appreciator of Shakespeare, as somebody that has directed Romeo and Juliet in one of our college, is this something that was, down? Like, yeah,
It
yeah,
was like, I
I
mean,
can totally see
yeah,
that.
I just don't get it. Like, well, I get it why not a lot of people know about it, but
Yeah.
yeah, don't use it then if you don't really know what it means, right?
Well,
Yeah,
it's
it's really
the
interesting.
it's how it's it's also like the way that a lot of what's it portray the scene as well. Like there is, I have this image of like of like Romeo hiding in the bushes, not our
Mm.
Romeo for Survivor, but like Romeo and Juliet, like Romeo in the bushes, which sort of gives the impression that like she can't see him, but like it still makes no sense. Anyway, um,
Yes,
but yeah, it
because
was
a lot of
something.
people only know that line. They don't know the entire thing, right?
Yeah,
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 yeah. It's an entire long line where Juliet asks, "Why was Romeo born a Montague and not and why was she born a Capulet?" Right? So it's that whole thing. It's my petty. It's a petty thing on my end, but yeah, that was a low. It's just a
yeah.
petty low, not really a big, huge like big thing. Yeah.
Oh, called it.
Do you have any petty lows for this episode?
Well, not really. Well, here, this is a load that isn't from the episode that we saw,
Mhm.
but it is from the episode that we didn't see, and it's a Romeo. It's a Romeo low,
Mm.
from the secret scenes or from the hidden scene.
Mm.
Yeah, from the secret scene. Um, the entire episode was pretty much like a Romeo character assassination, right? Like it was. It was
Just him
pretty
sitting
much
down with the fire again.
this is his exercise. But um what was it? He got to explain a little bit more about like what he was doing in that secret scene. And the thing that was kind of heartbreaking was in that particular secret scene, he got a winner quote.
Oh, why? What did he say? What did he say?
Right, he got a winner quote where he like a survivor to like a pageant or something,
Mm.
and his line was, "I can't wait to have this survivor sash," or something like that. So like that was a straight up winner quote, and they cut it out of the episode. Like no.
Ooh, too bad. I guess it's them telegraphing Romeo's fate.
Yeah, it feels really like what he's our he's gonna be like the zero vote finalist that they bring to the end.
Yeah, he's gonna be. Yeah, if ever he makes it to final, he's gonna be the goat. Basically, he's gonna
Yeah,
be the
like
goat.
I really don't see any other. I don't really see any combination of the three, as it stands right now, that that doesn't work for or where Romeo gets out. Because like I was thinking like, all right, if we have both Romeo and Jonathan,
Mhm.
then Romeo has a little bit more of a chance. Maybe Drea votes for him, right? But then with like Lindsay, Omer, Mike, and Marianne as the other potential like third chair, I don't see it for Romeo.
Mm. His chances are pretty dim, really, unless he suddenly has like a face turn where he suddenly becomes like this super challenge beast and starts like upending the hierarchy,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
he could probably do it with Marianne
Yeah, yeah,
as it
yeah. That's possible. That's possible. But how much agency would he have in that pairing, right?
that's true.
Because Marianne has all of the power, has the advantages.
Yeah, that's true.
We haven't. I don't quite remember. Aside from this episode when they were talking about what was that? The switch, the survivor switch. They sort of
Yeah,
tried to coin a term, survivor switch. That was Marianne and Romeo. Aside from that, I've never really seen them working with each other. So it's maybe moving forward. Who knows? Who knows? We still have how many episodes left? A couple more episodes left.
yeah.
Who
Final
knows?
final six. We're on the final six.
Yeah. So around 3 or 4 more episodes, maybe, right?
Yep.
Yeah, 4
Yeah.
more episodes.
So But I guess that's my low though, like the character assassination of Romeo, right?
Mm,
Because like this is well, both him and Jonathan, right? They're both like their games are just falling apart,
yeah.
you know, which is quite sad.
Yeah.
It's quite sad because they were both doing so well.
Mm,
Well, like, see, Romeo was one of the pre-merge favorites, you know, and then when the merge comes, all of a sudden he's like on the outs,
mhm.
and in this episode they just made him look like Smeagol, dude, like, right?
With especially with the way that he was squatting, yeah, such a
Right
Smeagol.
there.
And then his big eyes when he would look to the
Yeah, he
side.
looks around like,
Yeah, now
"Pretty,
that you're pointing it, I cannot
pretty
unsee it now. He is,
precious."
yeah, he is now Smeagol. Yeah, and you mentioned Jonathan. Yeah, that is one of my lows. He's having it hard. Again, it's what you mentioned before. Like the big guys always have it hard because they. He said it also. He said in the episode that he consumes. I mean, he expends a lot more because he's bigger and he needs a lot more calories in order to maintain his physique. I mean, that's what contributed to his attitude, right?
Yeah,
While he was talking with Drea. And aside from that, his I always thought that him and Lindsay were tight, but apparently that's not the case anymore, right?
yeah, like it's so bad. I
Yeah.
always thought he was like, um, what's it? Jonathan is dramatic irony, since like we're talking about Shakespeare, right? Jonathan is dramatic irony. He says one thing, but then like he just does the exact opposite.
Mhm.
you know like in the confessionals, it's like, all right, this is what I'm going to do, and then like he just does the exact opposite of what like he said what he said he was going to do, so much so that I'm thinking like there are two Jonathans. one of them one of them that's like outside of the game, and one of them that's in the game. And so Jonathan the character in the game doesn't know what Jonathan the character out of the game that's breaking the fourth wall is saying.
True, true. And we're getting more and more proof that what Chanel said. Remember, you pointed this out.
Yeah,
Chanel said that the hero edit of Jonathan in the first episodes was not warranted, right?
yeah,
And we're getting the evidence of that here in these past episodes that he's becoming hard to live with around camp.
yeah.
Yeah, is it a matter of the other castaways not recognizing that because he's bigger, it's harder. He needs to eat more, but he decides to eat just the same as everyone else, except for Romeo, who keeps on dipping his hand into the pot, right? So
Well,
right?
but I would think that all of them, um because all of them feel like crap, like it's hard to
Empathize.
empathize with other people feeling like crap. That's sort of one of the premises of Survivor, right? Like,
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
make it a living hell for you out there and see what happens.
yeah. True, true. It's also quite funny for me that the biggest guy decides not to eat just as much as everyone else. Meanwhile, the smallest guy is the one who keeps dipping his hand into the pot and getting extra bits of rice, right?
So, so like Jonathan should be like Romeo. He should just be like getting food.
Yeah, right. Sitting down, squatting beside. Imagine the two of them beside each other on opposite sides of the pot, just squatting and then getting bits of rice. It's yeah, it's funny and it's sad. It's part of what makes Survivor like a good TV, right? You see these people subjected to these elements, subjected to these circumstances, and how do they react, right? How do they react? Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else on
No,
you
no,
on
no.
your
If,
side?
if somebody, if somebody were to like train to go on Survivor,
Hmm.
like I know that like with the Amazing Race, there's quite a bit of sort of training that can go into the Amazing Race. So, say for example, learn how to drive a stick shift, and like learn how to read a map, and you know get running and all of that. Like, is part of the preparation for Survivor learning how to deal with hunger,
Probably, especially with,
right?
well, but then again, these past two seasons are the first two seasons where they didn't get rice at the start of
Oh,
the game, right? And it's a shorter season, so the challenges come one after the other.
all
Whereas
right.
before, I think that they usually would have, because it's 40 days, so it's usually either 2 or 3 days per that's
Mm.
taken up by one episode, and the challenges are spread out within those days. This being just 26 days, and then not having rice at the start of the season. Yeah, I think if Survivor is going to maintain the 26 days moving forward, I guess that's something that prospective contestants will have to think about, right? Because before these seasons, most preparation would have been learning how to build a fire, or
Yeah,
figuring out how to call out directions when everyone else is blindfolded, right?
right.
Learning not to say that the puzzle looks like a pizza. Uh,
This all seems very directed towards Jonathan.
yeah. So yeah, but yeah, uh, it's hunger. That's probably really going to be something that people are going to have to contend with moving forward. If uh, if CBS, if the producers are going to continue with the 26 days no rise at the start
Yeah,
thing.
they actually might. This is something that we could talk about at the end of the
Hmm.
season, whether they should keep a 26-day format. Because I get the feeling that Jeff likes it.
Yeah, yeah.
Everything seems to be getting shorter. That
Faster turnaround.
crucifixion, that crucifixion thing used to be hours. It's now like 12 minutes.
And I think I mean, the fact that they haven't been eating enough played into that, played into it being a shorter game,
Yeah,
right? Because they
like
don't have the calories to burn anymore to last 5 hours in that kind of a position, right? So yeah, that's that. What else do you have on your list?
Lindsay making the exact wrong call. I think strategically,
Hmm.
like strategically, but then like you said, it was something that was building her resume, but she
Yeah,
didn't have to go through that.
yeah,
Like, to my mind, that's something that she didn't have to go through.
yeah.
So
Because
like
she
Lindsay
was
making the wrong call.
practically safe.
Yeah, like it was how do we put this? It was hubris.
Yeah,
Since once again we're talking about, since we're in this realm of Shakespeare, it was the hubris of Hamlet. You know
yeah, yeah. And
that that
she herself admitted it, that uh it it was her pride, it was her competitive spirit that got the better of her, right?
yeah, it made for a great flashback, and like and a tremendously inspiring backstory. But
Mhm.
strategically it was the wrong call, even though it probably does quite a lot to build the resume, at least in terms of big game moves. But strategically, not so sure.
Yeah, it was
Which
a risk she
which
didn't have to take.
which is kind of reflected, um, in a way, by the. I'm not going to say knowledge is power, and I'm not going to say shot in the dark. The do or die, which is in a way reflected in the do
Mhm.
or die for the past two seasons, where the best outcome for everybody, or the best outcome for the viewer, um, was by the individual, or by the doer dyer making what is supposedly the wrong call,
Mm.
you know
Mm.
and so it's like, oh, does this mean that like people are gonna stop believing math?
Maybe not stop believing math, but maybe not discounting the 33%, right? Because in the
Okay.
end, 33% is still 33%. It's
Yeah,
lower than
33.
66, but it's still 33%, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really not a fan of the shot in the dark.
The do or die.
Yeah, the do or die. The shot in the
See,
dark, I like.
you're that much not a fan of it that you keep forgetting what it's actually called.
Yeah, the shot in the dark, I actually like.
Mm,
I
mm,
actually, I've come around to the shot in the dark. Like it encourages sneakier gameplay.
mm. Especially the fact that nobody actually knows until the votes are counted whether or not you
Yeah,
played it, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there the I I led with this and I'm probably and I'm ending with it. The do or die is just something that don't I don't really like them. I really don't like.
The do or die should just die.
I yeah.
Or in the words of Hamlet, it should just not to be. Not be, right? It shouldn't be. It should not be. Right? Okay. Anything else on your side?
Let's see. Mr. Jeff spoiling last season, 2 in a row beating the odds. The character assassination of Romeo. No, that's it. What about you? Anything that
Uh,
you're
well, on my side, oh yeah, I do have like my two favorites now are Jonathan and Mike, and I already mentioned my low for Jonathan, and yeah, you mentioned that it's quite a high for Mike to be scheming, but he might be playing too hard right now.
yeah.
It paints a big target on his back. Again, makes for good TV because we're seeing like this old burly dude, former firefighter from Jersey, and then uh, doesn't really doesn't really strike you as someone who strategizes, but he is strategizing. It's just that he's not able to hold back. Right? He's coming on too strong. He might be coming on too strong. Again, this is also because he doesn't really know how other people are taking what he's saying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he
Well,
might be. He's for me. He's playing a little too hard.
but to your to give a little bit of an argument for
Mm,
you, after Drea's stunt earlier, the person that was outplaying Mike, Omar, probably got like a more damning like exit line from Drea,
true. True.
like more than Mike. So like by throwing Omar, but by throwing Omar under the bus before Mike, or by throwing Omar under the faster bus, I guess. By throwing
Bigger bus.
Omar under the bigger, faster bus, he's like the shield for Mike in a way.
Mm,
I would
true.
think.
That's true. That's true. Because now, I mean, everyone knows that Omar can't necessarily be trusted with secrets, right?
Yeah. And be
Yeah.
like, Mike, where's your idol? With Omar. Time to blindside him. Like,
True. True. All right. So yeah, that will lead us into our thoughts and predictions later. But before that, let's go back to our pal Martin and let's listen to his thoughts.
Martin's thoughts with Martin. Martin. Yeah.
For the lows, while it was the showdown between Jonathan and that lady, who thankfully did not lose the do or die, Jonathan's still on the low. Like, man, stop being such a brat, man. Like, just eat crow. Teach them how to fish. Be fishers of men. What Jesus says, right? Come on, man. Don't do yourself like that. And that's it. Yeah, that's for my low.
Martin's thoughts with Martin. Martin. Yeah.
Martin going biblical on us.
We were just talking about Shakespeare. He has to bring like Jesus into it.
Oh gosh. All right. Wow.
Is Marianne his new winner pick?
Maybe. Who knows, right? Going with a seminary student. Uh, yeah. Well, yeah. I do see his point. I do see his point. Like but again, it goes back to Jonathan being like a big guy and his dilemma with not being able to eat as much as he needs to. Not being able to. What was his diet again?
Like a million pieces of cheese and like
Yeah.
thousands of eggs.
Tons
I
of
don't. I
cheese,
don't
yeah, and
remember.
eggs, and did he also have potatoes or something like that? Yeah, and he doesn't get any of that. I mean, so he only gets rice, coconut that Drea couldn't eat. Yeah, probably takes Drea's share of coconut. uh yeah, it goes back to that, but yeah, he made the decision that okay, I'm going to eat as much as everyone else. We should be able to live with it, right? I guess that's like that's what Martin is saying.
Yeah. I mean, I think I kind of alluded to it as well by saying like, couldn't he have trained for it? You know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, but again, because this is the first time that they're not. Yeah,
yeah,
it's a lot of first, and just like what Jeff said, these guys never solved 41, so they don't know what's going to happen.
all right.
Okay, yeah.
Thoughts and predictions.
All right, thoughts and predictions. I want to start this out. This was actually something that I what do you call this? That I was surprised by. The fact that apparently the well is within earshot of camp. Because there was that one scene where, like, I think it was Drea who was calling out the people in the well, at the well. She was like, "Are you done with the water? I actually need my water." she was like playing with them. Like, I know that you guys are talking strategy, but I actually need water. But I was surprised that the well is actually within earshot of camp. That was weird. That was surprising to me. Did you have any idea that it was that close?
No, but it makes it all of a sudden makes Drea's like caught red-handed thing be a lot more dangerous than we kind of initially thought, right?
Yeah, yeah. Makes the fact that apart from Tori, who never really, or I don't know if she really pursued it, never really questioned it more, made the fact that she got out of it really good. But sad thing is she didn't use it well. What she got from that.
'Cause one of the questions that I had, although I don't think I ever brought it up, was couldn't she just have like gone to the beach and clean her hand without having to, like if she was worried about somebody going into the like water well, could she just have like gone to the beach and washed her hand? But like if the water well really is as close to camp as we think, like
People would
no
have seen
way.
her
Yeah.
her arms like all red and stuff. Yeah, that's true.
So it makes a lot more sense now, like why it was such a big risk
Hmm. Yeah.
to get
Yeah, because
caught.
I always had this idea that it's like at the very least a 5-minute walk or a 2-minute walk away from camp. That's also like hidden away from the view of people in camp. But here they're within earshot, so it's yeah. I don't know. It's something that I never knew, and yeah, it makes those things like people looking for hidden immunity idols, because a lot of them actually do happen to be like around the water well, right? Like take 5 paces from the water well. It always used to be like I remember these weird details about previous seasons. I don't remember a lot of them, but I do remember these weird details. Like a lot of them are like take 5 paces from the water well and look for this kind of a tree or something like that. Or maybe that was this season. I don't know. Yeah. So yeah. So what's your thought and or prediction?
Hmm. Um, it's a fear, right?
Mm.
It's a fear. I mentioned this in our group chat already. We
Mhm.
have three idols. We have
Ooh.
three idols in play. We have six people left,
Mhm.
and we have a potential like somebody just getting idled out,
Ooh.
right? Because
Ooh.
like you know
Is it
that's
something that could potentially happen as early as next episode?
uh next episode. It's going to be between two. This is going to be a choice between two.
Mhm.
If um because it's the final six, right? So
Yeah.
if one idol is played, we can assume that the other two are going to be played,
Yeah.
right? So there, then you have one person that will have the immunity idol, because that person is going to be the one that plays the hardest,
Mhm.
and so it's going to be a choice between two. But if they manage to hold off playing the immunity idols until
Final
final
five,
five,
which
which is
is
the
the last
last,
time you
yeah,
can play it. Yeah.
yeah, which is the last time they can play it, you have the potential for somebody to win immunity, three immunity idols played, and
Yeah.
one person just
Being
screwed.
idled out or getting the Siri treatment.
Yeah, right. Where but it isn't going to be as convoluted, so Jeff won't have to like explain it.
Jeff won't have to like explain. Uh, yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. 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 That is something that might come up.
Right,
Oh.
so that's my fear, not necessarily a prediction or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, but that's just a fear. um what I do want is for Omer to keep Mike's idol, Marianne to keep that idol an extra. But actually, what I really want to see is Marianne and Romeo get somebody else into
Off.
the fold, right?
Oh,
Like
into their
I
fold. Oh.
yeah, because
Who would that be? Who would
it's
that
three
be?
and three. My guess would be like Mike,
Oh, yeah. If Omar holds on to his idol or the idol that was previously his, he would
right?
sort of become desperate. Yeah.
Yeah. So Omer and Omer, Jonathan, and Lindsay are perceived to be the tightest part of
Mhm.
Taco,
Yeah.
right? So you have a 3-3 split there with Lindsay, Jonathan, and Omer on one side, and Marianne, Romeo, and Mike on the other side. But Marianne has an extra
An extra
vote.
vote. Yeah. Wow.
And so that's, I suppose, how they can get rid of Jonathan.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Lindsay and unless it's Jonathan who wins the next challenge,
Yeah,
right?
unless it's Jonathan that wins the next immunity challenge. But that's the but that's the thought moving forward. What I'd like to see, I'd like to
Mm.
see uh Marianne and Romeo take this next episode from behind,
Mm.
right?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
we did sort of see something like that being alluded to in the next time in the credit scenes, right? Like they were gaining some momentum, and then we had that. I think this is my. It's sort of a prediction of mine, but it goes back to your prediction from like way before. I think this is the episode when Marianne makes that emotional decision because we did see
all
that
right.
like that confessional with her like crying and then having
Yeah.
the idol in her hand. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Or alternatively, right? Whoever wins the immunity challenge teams up with Marianne and Romeo and take out somebody else. That's the
Ooh, that's
yeah,
possible as well,
yeah.
right?
So
Yeah.
that's my hope for the episode.
So you have a fear and you have a hope. That's cool. That's cool. That's nice. Yeah, for me, I'm going back to your I'm not gonna call it a conspiracy theory, but your thought, your theory. It's not a conspiracy theory, it's a theory that the next time is actually a red herring. Because in the credits scenes, we did see that it seems that the Taku 4 is obliterated or like yeah, it's gonna be it's gone. right? But I'm going with that. I'm going with that. The fact that that's a red herring. I actually think that they will find a way to function for at the very least one more episode as Taku Strong, and they're probably going to take if they're gonna do it easy. If they're gonna go easy, the easy route, they're gonna take out Romeo, and then it's either gonna be it's gonna be Romeo, or if they want like it's sort of a big play because especially since Drea said that he's a favorite to win in the end, so they might take out Mike, right? So yeah, because if you really think about it, yeah, so three of the Taku four have immunity idols, and then
Yeah, that's true.
Jonathan is he's always a challenge threat, so he might win it. He might win the immunity challenge. So Taku 4 might have all of the advantage, right?
That's true. That's true. So sad for Mike and Romeo. Although, do you think Omer should give the idol back to Mike? Is there an argument for that?
Um, in There is an argument for that, I think. Because Mike is such a straight shooter, he's a loyal guy. I think that if Omar gives the idol back to Mike, he'll have Mike in his pocket up until he needs to vote him out. Yeah, he's gonna stand behind Omar the rest of the way. Right? Yeah, so I
Although
think
the strategic play is probably just keep the idol.
yeah, keep the idol and get him, but yeah, and get him voted out. Yeah, but that would burn that bridge for me, and it would burn that bridge, especially if Mike becomes aggressive and asks for the idol. If Mike doesn't ask for the idol, because he did say that if he gives it back to me, then yeah, okay, sure. But if he doesn't, I think that am I remembering it correctly? He did say
Yeah,
something. Mike
yeah,
did say something like that,
yeah,
right? That it's okay with him that if Omar doesn't give it back or something like that, something to that effect.
yeah.
Yeah, but the mere fact that Omar warned him about the knowledge is power advantage increased his trust in Omar to the level that he's okay with Omar not giving back the idol. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah. So and then Omar can just use that the same way that he's been using all of these different tiny details to further his own game. Right. So he now knows that Mike is in his pocket. He'll hold on to Mike until the end, maybe until final four. Then he'll just
Oh
vote him
man.
out, right? Or at the very least, because if you noticed in tribal in tribal, he came up with the theatrics of like when Drea's name was coming out. Or sorry, when Mike said that he didn't have the idol, he came up with the theatrics of of that
Yeah.
whole reaction face. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that so yeah. So he's scheming for the end. He's scheming for the end, and I think that the move would be for him to keep the idol and just play it as if he didn't have a hand in Mike's getting voted out. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
looking at the boot order of 41.
Okay. Yeah. So
So the final six, it was the boot order was Danny, then Ricard, Heather, and then the final three. So
so
if we're
Danny would either
following,
be Mike or Jonathan.
yeah,
More Jonathan because he's like the bigger dude.
then Ricard would be Omar.
Ooh.
I
All
would
right.
think that Ricard was the best player last season,
Yeah. Yeah. If there was an MVP, he would have been MVP.
and that's like Omar now.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
So I'm seeing. So I my my prediction, right,
Mm-hmm.
is the next two boots are going to be Jonathan and Omar. Not sure what order that's going to be.
Ooh. Wait, so after yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. And if that happens, my conspiracy theory of this whole thing being rigged goes up a whole lot more notches. Right?
although Jonathan could also be like the other zero vote finalist.
True. 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 Yeah, because it goes back to what Chanel said, that the hero edit that he received wasn't warranted. Yeah, it could go back because she is the mayor.
Yeah.
She has the most influence on the jury. So she
So
could be like, yeah.
the Danny of this season is Lindsay, and she has like the football
Mm,
as well. So
mm. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh gosh, not when we already have her as like the presumptive like winner. All of a sudden she's taken down. No, I was turning around to Lindsay. She's now your like winner pick. Yeah. Wait, so after so it's like Danny, Ricard, and then after that who's after? Heather.
Heather because of fire.
Oh, and then final three. Oh gosh. So that's Romeo.
Sure.
unless Romeo gets saved by whoever needs, because it's always just one guy who needs to pick, right? Who is going to who's gonna
Yeah,
do
yeah.
fire.
Whoever gets the immunity.
Yeah.
And our Xander this season is Jonathan,
True. That could be. Yeah. Yeah, that could work.
the
What
zero vote
who-
finalist. Who's the Deshaun Romeo? He's gonna get like one vote from Drea or something, like one stray vote from Drea.
Yeah. Well, then again, they were like the tight couple from Ika, right? Like
Yeah.
with Romeo saying that he wants to help Drea become the best survivor that she can be. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Golem said about Frodo, right?
Wants to help Master get to Mordor, and yeah, yeah. Whew. My gosh, this is interesting. This is interesting because it is going to have ramifications. The next couple of episodes are going to be interesting for me because it is going to go into proving whether or not my conspiracy theory might be correct. That this whole thing, 41 and 42 at the very least, are scripted. All right. Yeah. Anything else on your side?
Oh man, that's it.
That's it. Okay. Let's
Best
go.
episode of the season so far.
Best episode of the season. I concur. I concur. This has been the best episode of the season so far. Now let's see what Martin thinks with Martin's thoughts, his thoughts and predictions for the next few episodes.
Martin's thoughts with Martin. Martin. Yeah.
For my prediction for next episode, God, it's wire to wire now. I don't know if it's gonna be Jonathan who's gonna be out next, Mike, Omar, that lady, Romeo, Marianne. I'm not sure. It's up in the air. But if you're gonna have to let me pick, I'm still saying Romeo's still not on the clear here, and he might be the target yet again. Alright guys, that's it for me. Please don't forget to subscribe to Laro-Laro lang here on YouTube. And also, don't forget to subscribe to channel14.com. And this is Martin's Thoughts with Martin. Martin's
thoughts with Martin. Martin. Yeah.
Oh gosh, really? Martin did not remember Lindsay's name. Is that him also trying to purple her out so that people don't like remember her, and then she all of a sudden wins in the end? Who knows? Or or Martin just really can't remember Lindsay's name. Yeah, he started it. He thinks that Romeo is the next boot. Who's your next boot?
This is my next boot. Jonathan or Mike?
Jonathan or Mike. That's it does sort of like point indications do point that way, that it's gonna either be Jonathan or Mike. For me, I just want it to be a simple vote this time. I mean,
Romeo.
let's put Romeo out of his misery. Yeah, like you said, his character's already been assassinated. Let's not let him dive lower and lower into the mountain to become Gollum. Let's let him keep his Smeagol sanity. Whatever little is left, right? Yeah. So it's Romeo for me. So it's for you. It's either Jonathan, or if you had to choose, just like Martin, if you had to choose, who is it?
Well,
Jonathan or Mike?
if Martin is going Jonathan, I'll go Mike.
Okay. All right. So it's Mike on your side. I hate to see either of those go, but yeah. It was part of my low that Jonathan's been having it bad and Mike's playing a little too hard. Okay, let's go to our survivors of the week. Who's your castaway of the week?
It's obviously Lindsay, right?
Yeah, I have her as my castaway of the week too. She's really getting highlighted. She's getting highlighted. If conspiracy theories are to be believed, she just got saved by Jeff with a do or die, using the magician's trick to make sure that she's safe.
Yep.
Yeah. How about who's your goat of the week?
Romeo.
Same. Romeo. And the purple of the week?
Marianne's extra vote.
Marianne's extra vote. That is wow. Didn't get used. Yeah. How about Drea's extra vote? She used an extra vote too, but she still didn't get the votes. Right.
Yeah, but at least it was shown in the edit.
Yeah, at least it was shown in the edit. Yeah. That was too cute. I have to go back to that little moment between Mike and Dre in the end. He used an extra vote. Yeah, I did. And she was so excited that she used an extra vote to try and take out Mike, but it still didn't work. It was too cute. I mean, I love Drea's, the way that Drea was portrayed and the way that she played this entire time. And the fact that she went out that way was really cute, and it was, yeah, you're right. This has been the best episode of the season so far.
Played an honorable game.
An honorable
Played
game.
a very honorable game.
Yeah.
More honorable, I will dare say, more honorable than Mike.
Ooh, nice. All right. There you go. There you have it. That is it for this episode of the Council of Titos. Another big player falls. Is this really the beginning of a survivor flip? Are the big sharks going to eat each other, letting the minnows swim past? Is this the trend heading into the final 5 days on the island? We'll have to wait and see. As always, if you liked our video, hit the like button, and please consider hitting the subscribe button and the bell icon, so you'll get notified whenever we come up with new content here on the Laro-Laro channel. This channel has other shows on it as well, focused on sports and other similar things. Anyway, this has been Chief Bisdak Joel Parcon.
Hey, and I'm Zhao.
We hope that you can join us on the council again next time. Until then, stay safe, everyone.
No. Sorry.
You want to say it?
The Titos have spoken.
There you go.